Hello, Avengers and Anti-Theists. My name is TV Skyn, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where, if I'm reading things correctly, it is finally, at very long last, time to murder the Pope. I've been waiting for this the whole expansion, and now, finally we're here. So, without any further ado, let's see who wants to help me kill the Pope, guys. Anyone? Jump if you want to kill the Pope. Yeah, that's what I like to see. Oh my god. Someday I'm gonna get in terrible trouble. Ooh. This does remind me of the coils somewhat. Albeit a lot more elaborate. And a lot prettier, I will say also. Yeah, exactly, like the coils are also elegant. Okay, let's have a look around. Hello! So they look kind of like... spiders, but... okay, they're machines. They're definitely machines. Because what I'm interested in there is like the sort of almost coral-like structure of this thing on their back. Okay. Wait, this is called Marvin?
Marvin the Martian, hello! Oh, these intruders have come to stop my 336 Ismodium space modulator.
No, hang on a second. So they've been fighting their way in from the other side is basically what we're getting from this. Ooh, hello. Oh, the vibes changed. Now we've got all this spiky shit going on. Almost like claws. Interesting. Pre-cultured biome. Ew. Gross. Ultra gross. Oh, hey, you look like that thing people were riding around. Oh, goody. Oh, it's chimeric monsters before they're finished. Ew. So they just make those by reducing living things to biomass and reconstituting them into a shape that's like predetermined to be... oh god, gross. Very gross. But it is sort of like, it is fitting for the Allagans. Like the very much like the vibe of the Allagans as a culture is like that they sort of... everything in the world is sort of configured to suit them and their purposes, right? It's all very much about, like, what do we need these creatures to be? What do we need them to do for us? Rather than, like, any sense of concern for... rather than any sense of concern for what they might be or, like, what their nature might be, it's just a matter of, like reconstituting them and turning them into a shape that is convenient for the Allagan purpose. That's the same thing they did with Bahamut and like what we found in the coils, right? Like Bahamut and like the dragons that were sort of held in stasis. Hamarkis. Ooh. Oh, no, over here, please. I like the three-pronged tail thing that it's got. Oh, okay, we're transforming. Asset from Final Fantasy XII. The boss. And now the vibe shifts again. See how the color just changes? Oh, hey, that's a sweeper. that seems to be based on a Final Fantasy VII enemy called the Sweeper. Which most recently showed up in Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously. But yeah, like, altered design a little bit, but the same basic body plan. Or maybe I'm over-interpreting? Who knows? But yeah, the vibe shifts again, the colors shift, and all of the claws and the spikes and all of the everything that was present before, all of that seems to have gone away. Oh, it's the 13 version. Ah. And now instead, we have this hexagonal, almost beehive-like structure. That all seems to be shaped around, like, the core. As we're fighting clone warriors. Oh no, they've executed Order 66. I just wanted to take a closer look at them. They kind of share some of the same design sensibilities as the twins in the Crystal Tower. Ooh, oh, you look cool. Hey, come over here and hit me in the face for a bit. Let's just get a closer look at you guys. Okay, so a little bit of like a jackal Anubis sort of vibe, and then with a tail that's a serpent. Ah, chimeras. I don't know what a Shapti is, like if that's a specific thing from mythology. But yeah, like, it's almost like mummified a little bit. Petrified creature. Ooh. Ooh, this is ugly. Ah, I should have stopped. Damn it, cutscene. Oh, well. This is something... Oh, this is some Resident Evil shit. Oh, shit, two of them.
The champion of Hydaelyn.
Tell me, why do you despise the primals so? They are the embodiment of mortal will, of mortal desire. Plainly, you desire a foe to despise, and 'tis well that you do, for it is from the vortex of ceaseless conflict that Lord Zodiac shall be reborn.
Through the joining, the world shall become whole again. Then all shall be as once it was, as it should ever have remained.
Gotta make Georgia great again, are we?
For the glory of Lord Zodiac.
Your meddling ends here and now, warrior of light.
Ah. Oh, it's La Habrea. I didn't even recognize the voice. So, one thing that interests me a little bit about the design in here is all of these spikes pointing inwards, right? Almost as though they're trying to contain something or prevent something from breaking out. Like an Iron Maiden kind of vibe. Huh. Which, given what this stuff looks like, I guess spikes would be kind of effective in, like, poking that back. Alternate reading Broken Orb. Yeah. I mean, it does seem to have shattered a little bit and been pushed outwards. But okay, I guess we're gonna kill a couple Asians. We're gonna kick some Asian. Wait, why are you so big? You guys used to be human-sized. What the hell? Ooh, is that bad? Do we need to walk into those, or do we just need to dodge them? Just dodge them. Fair enough. But no, I wasn't kidding when I said, like, the thing that they dropped there in terms of, like, their little villain monologue was, like, some make Eorzea great again shit. Because it was. Like, it was specifically... They outlined their ideology as... Specifically the idea of, like, restoring a past golden age that is long gone, regardless of the cost to the present. Which is very... which is very that kind of vibe, you know? I will say it's convenient that you're bigger. Makes it easier to hit you. Oi, I saw that. You healed. Can't have that.
Mortal scum.
Okay, so probably here is the safe spot. Okay, I think we've got him, unless they have some sort of super-duper ultimate ending attack that, like, kills everyone.
Know your place.
If you don't dodge it in time. Whoa. Losers!
Such strength, it defies all reason.
Already killed you once, dickhead.
No, I will not be bested by the likes of them. La Habrea, it is time.
You guys gonna do the fusion dance? It kind of feels like the environment is setting up some sort of body horror.
Let us show these mortals the true power of the Echo. The power to break down the barriers of existence.
Oh, they are gonna fuse. Okay.
And we are become one.
What, are you gonna combine both of your terrible fashion senses into one even uglier outfit? Oh, yeah, you did! Ha! Oh, we're doing Darth Nihilus shit. Yeah, I saw their masks were fused together. It was quite clever. I do like this thing about, like, because, the Ascians in general have kind of bad character designs. Like, they're not really very memorable character designs as villains, but I do like one detail about them, that they all have different masks, right? They all have a different, like, specific mask that they wear that has, like, that sort of, like, I guess supposedly signifies something about their personality. Or signifies something about their connection to some dark god, or God knows what. You all motherfuckers literally just doing fusion dances. Okay, so we do that, and then we run to the middle. Works for me. Ooh, fancy. Okay, that's one of those big AoE things of like, what are we supposed to do here? Okay, just try and not kill everyone else with our AoEs, I guess. Someone get Atalia back on their feet, please. Uh-oh. Oh, I killed them. Oh, sorry. You're supposed to run together. Oh, right, of course, because the center is the safe spot. I get it. Okay, I'll remember that for next time. They even fuse together into an Ascian Prime. Oh my god. Okay, I guess we hit this thing now. Okay, so break the tether between the two of you, and then, yes. Okay, I see. And now we ponder the orb. Pondering the orb. Just pondering the hell out of it. Oh, just stay in there. You went to all this trouble. And try not to get our asses frozen to bits. Okay. Presumably they'll have like one little final super trick up their sleeve or whatever. Hey! Limit break finished the job. Man, we probably should have brought out the white aura sight, shouldn't we? Whew. Well, made it through. Thanks for the help, guys. Don't worry about it, Flamestorm. Don't worry about it. I screwed up the fight a few times, too.
That he might regain the blessing of light I had foreseen. But he has grown so strong in it as to deny us our power.
Let us withdraw, La Habrea. That power remains to us, at least. Impossible!
Get Pokeballed! Oh, I hope that traumatizes him. A mean thing to say, but still.
So, you harness the eye's power. A pity you spent it all. What will you do now, hero?
So, not even the vaunted warrior of light can unmake an Ascian without relying upon mortal contrivances.
Is that the Ark of the Covenant?
In the distant past, King Thordan and his knights 12 fought and defeated Nidhogg.
Nidhogg.
Though the victory cost them dear, they were rewarded with a great prize, the dread worm's eyes, both of which have since been held in the Holy Sea's safekeeping. The eye you possess was Nidhogg's left, and long has it served as a source of the Azure Dragoon's might. As for its twin, it has lain here, joined to the person of Haldreth. the first Azure Dragoon. For though he learned to harness its power, he was ultimately consumed by it. Even in death, his body decays not. A pitiful end for a fabled hero. My Ascian friend, long have you and your kind sown the seeds of chaos by teaching mortals the secrets of summoning. But if you assumed that we would meekly serve as your pawns, then you are gravely mistaken.
You would raise a hand against us.
By taking unto my flesh the soul of the legendary King Thordan, I can become a god.
Bet you're not. Okay, interesting character design. I like the armor.
A god who knows not cessation, whose being is sustained by a millennium of fervent prayer, and the eyes nigh bottomless reservoir of ether.
Okay, so let's have a little camp. Okay, so interesting mixture here of constructed and biological shapes. Like this again, to me, reads like a very classical, sort of, the sort of like evil emperor design that Yoshitaka Amano would be responsible for. Like this very flowing, very cursive, very sort of like calligraphic mixture of like, you can see all these curving shapes that flow all across his body and all across the armor set, so that he's not armor plated. Like very little on him really looks like plating, but it all looks more like a carapace or almost like skin, or muscle fibers actually coiling their way around him, which is then also seem to be present here around the hips, especially. So you get this mixture of something that seems constructed and something that seems biological, right? Like as though the armor is as much a part of the flesh and the body as any other part of him, which is interesting. Anyway, I'm not completely wrong in thinking that this guy just literally made himself a primal, right? Like that's basically what it is. He made himself a primal. Like essentially, because he did the thing of like sustained by a millennium of fervent prayer in the eyes nigh bottomless reservoir of ether. That sure sounds primal-esque to me.
Your contempt for man has proven your undoing, Ascian. For my first act as God King, I do hereby sentence you to die.
Oh, you absorb him into the eye. Yeah, I'm sure that won't backfire.
Gods feed upon ether. It matters not what form that ether takes. Ascian souls are no exception. With this power, I shall put an end to 1,000 years of conflict.
And install yourself as the God Emperor of the world. Yes, I think I get it. You told me as much.
Ascian, dragon or primal, wheresoever the seeds of chaos threaten to quicken, I shall excise them with my divine blade and bring order to the world.
There it is. Me on top. Me. I get to be in charge. I get to be the guy who rules everything. Me.
And become that which you abhor, warrior of light. If you would take issue with my godhood, I shall answer you with my blade.
That sure does seem like your vibe, dickhead. Silly Pope. But that's the thing we talked about. We talked about this with Captain Popehead over here. This is the, oh, okay. I want to go outside and pick up some people to help me kick his ass. But we talked about this with the monologue that he gave to Emmerich, right? Like, we spoke about... Everyone's jumping to kill the Pope, yay! We spoke about this with the monologue. Well, I'll get... Okay, let's just pick some people. Otherwise, you're gonna keep jumping. So, we talked about this with Thordan, right? Like, the long speech he gave Emmerich, where he was, like, sort of justifying why he did the things that he did and why it was good that he did them and so on and so forth. That whole thing... The unstated part, the thing that he kept not quite saying out loud is that, like, yes, I shall take on the burden of sacrifice and I shall blah, 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 bring an end to 1,000 years of conflict is with me as the God King. Like, with me on top, with me as the leader, with me in power, with me in charge, I get to decide what happens. I get to decide, like, who lives or dies. I get to decide how things are gonna go. I am the arbiter of what is good and holy. I am the like, that is the constant thing he's not saying. Until he now actually actively declares himself as God King. The thing he's constantly not saying is that, yeah, you might think in your head that you are doing this for the good of the world or whatever, but... Like, the thing you're actually doing is you're installing yourself on top of the pile and maintaining a structure where everyone else is constantly below you forever. That is his whole ideology, is me on top. I get to make all of the rules and the decisions, and everyone else is under my control. That is like that's the constant repeating motif in who he is and what he wants. And that's why he's evil, right? Like, that's why this is not like a noble sacrifice or some kind of like grand plan to save the world. It's, as it says here, his intent to rule over the world with an iron fist for all time. And that's all it is. It is just like everything else about him is in service to justifying this desire to be the man in charge. Like, that's it. Everything else about him is about that. So everything else about his justifications is about that, right? Like, all of his justifications, all these reasons he came up with why it is okay for him to do this are all just in the service of getting to this point. So he's a massive hypocrite, and he never, ever, ever had the best interests of the world at heart. He just uses this as a pretense for why he gets to be God King of the universe. Like, that's why he's a villain, and he's a good villain for that reason specifically. Because it reveals the hypocrisy, like, sort of at the core of this style of thinking. The core of that way of thinking about the world, that way of thinking about power, that way of thinking about responsibilities and wait, what? Oh, okay. I got scared there for a second. It's all just so much vacillating to justify why he gets to be the man in charge. Oh, am I... gonna have to kill you guys first because I wouldn't mind taking a little bit of revenge for Orchifon.
Brothers, the time has come to call upon the true power of the Heavensward.
Fight me if you will, warrior of light. I care not. All who stand against me will be destroyed, be they servants of the darkness or the light. By my blessing shall all men be sanctified, and an endless era of peace begin. Vice and conflict shall cease to be.
And you're the one who gets to decide what vice is, of course.
You reject my divinity, yet what have you to offer my people in its stead? Bitter truth? Virtuous suffering?
Freedom, asshole.
No matter. If you believe your cause just, I call upon you to defend it with your life.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Let's just stand here just for a second. Oh, yeah. Okay, this rules. But yeah, as someone points out in chat, Knights of the Round, that does seem to be what they're based on, like specifically in terms of as a reference to an old Final Fantasy game, which is interesting because Knights of the Round, I believe, only ever really showed up in Final Fantasy VII, where they were like legendarily the most tedious summon of the entire game. Like they did a lot of damage, but it took like literally like 5 minutes to summon them. So we can't fight his knights, can we? But we can get the hell away from the spheres before they blow up. Yeah, okay. I see. But he's literally casting Knights of the Round. Yeah, okay. So that's explicitly the reference they're making. Fair enough. I mean, that is pretty cool. And that's very cool to use as a boss fight, too. And now he's drawing on the Dragon's Eye. Yeah. I figured this was one of those look away from him things. And it seems like I figured correctly. So are you going to do a big sweep attack or something? Whoa, okay. Oh, it's the actual Knights of the Round summon. He's summoning all of them. Okay. I figure we probably don't want both of them on one tank. Taste my steel. Dinner and a movie first, kiddo. But no, yeah, it's literally the Knights of the Round summon. Is he literally called Ganondorf? I missed that. I missed that I have a party member called Ganondorf. Try again. Oh, his movements are getting kind of desperate. Yeah, I like that. Like, his animation is like getting like, like swinging the sword, just kind of trying to fend me off. Good.
How can this be? A millennium of prayer and the Eye's power combined, and still you stand.
Shouldn't have killed Oshifon.
What are you?
I'm just a guy who's a hero for fun. Ah, that was satisfying. It's good to kill the Pope every once in a while. That Cloud Strife glam is excellent, though. I love that it's a femro that you're used to do it. That's fantastic. Ooh. Oh, that's a really nice vest. I like the gauntlet gloves with that. Like the sort of the bright red. Like, good contrast to the rest of it too. Like, they really stand out. Like, and with the crown, oh, that's a good little piece. Like, it really makes them stand out against the rest of it. So like you pull a lot of focus to the hands. That's interesting. Ooh. I didn't know this thing. There's a little bit of a scene kid glam here. I feel like I'm back on Tumblr in 2006. I love the colors, though. Genuinely fantastic colors. Like, purple and black is just always a good combination. Oh, good choice with the boots, with, like, the little straps over top of it, like the little white straps. That's a nice little detail to add, like a little contrast. And at the end of it. Oh. Green is such a nice color. Like, it's so sort of downplayed and kind of unassuming. It's not too loud. It doesn't really draw much attention to itself. But when it's used nicely, like with that skin tone, it's a really nice use as well. I like the headpieces. Like, I like this sort of extra decoration with like the earrings and stuff. That's really nice. Like, because that's like a little bit of splash of bright color to sort of brighten up. Because otherwise, like the head area is like very dark in general. So like these little bits of colors stand out really nicely. Yeah, that rules. Oh, hello! I remember you. I love the casual fit. That just looks like you're heading to like a fancy party, like a fancy dinner party. That's just fashion, man. God, that shirt is fantastic. I like the shirt, like, sort of, with this sort of outrageous with the collar and, like, the whole thing. That's, like, a little bit extra and out there. And then just, like, sensible slacks. Like a belt. Some, not too formal, but, like, sort of, like, nice-looking shoes. But then there's the shirt that's, like, the big thing. I mean, who doesn't love a good corset? Frankly, who doesn't love a good corset? No one, that's who. Ooh, is that a oh, it's a butterfly. Oh, that's gorgeous. That fits really nicely with the aesthetic of the weapon somehow, actually. Like, I know it's an ice weapon, but it has kind of like sort of that ethereal vibe that you get from butterflies. I like the leggings, too, as a choice. Like, that blue color that sort of coordinates with the bow. It's really cool. Hey, same glasses. Same glasses. Same glasses. Same glasses. And they're a really good choice here, too, right? Like, because the rest of this is, like, mostly, like, some sort of, like a lot of black. Like, we got some gray. We've got, like, a little bit of brass and shit like that. And then just the glasses, like, these bright red circles right in the middle of the face that, like, just, like, that create a completely different vibe. It's kind of like, you know Auron from Final Fantasy X, right? Like, the way that his sunglasses sort of, like, he has this whole Ronin warrior monk thing going on, and then the sunglasses sort of mark him out. It's like, oh, okay, shit, like, there's something going on with him. It kind of story tells the thing of he's from two different worlds at the same time. This kind of does the same thing, right? Like, where the rest of this looks like sort of formal knight's wear kind of thing, like maybe someone who's like a cleric or a battle mage or something along those lines. Speaking of which, oh, Reaper. Like, it has a little bit of sort of that, like, holy warrior stuff, like maybe something along those lines. But then the glasses are like, that's fashion, right? Like, that's more of like a fashion thing. That's more of a streetwear thing. Like, not in the sense of being like modern, but in the sense of being like something that you would only wear for vanity, right? Like, that's sort of the primary function of like fancy glasses like that. As opposed to all of this, which might be ceremonial, this feels like a personal expression. Which is part of why I'm using them on Brick as well, is that, like, they have that aspect of, like, glasses like that always feel like a particular personal expression. It feels like something that's specific to the person who's wearing them, which is cool. I just wanted to give people a glam review for helping me through that fight. It was very cool to see them use Knights of the Round, though. Like, Knights of the Round was a really good reference. I really liked that. Oh, there you are, Estinian.
It's over then. I had hoped that mine would be the hand to end it. But knowing you, there was little chance of that. Twould seem the eye has served you well.
There we go. Emotes only on. Estinian? Are you sure you should have two of them?
At long last.
Buddy? Pal? Friend?
All that remains is to take them beyond the reach of man and dragon both. With this task accomplished, my toil shall finally be at an end.
Yeah, but you were having trouble with one of them before, so... Yeah.
Thou hadst done well to resist mine influence, bathed in my power and blood as thou wert. Alas, in thine anticipation of comfort, thou hast lowered thy guard.
It really was a boneheaded move, dude.
The king of my fallen kindred, their smoldering desire for revenge. Mine eyes have partaken of 1,000 years of pain, a pain which I shall bestow upon thee. Drink deep of my rage, mortal, and become me!
Told you should have taken that shower, dude. Hey, Nilhawk. How you doing? Really should have let me handle the other eye there.
Nidhogg, my child. What hath thy fury made of thee? Let us away, servant of Hydaelyn.
It does make sense that we would eventually have to kill Nidhogg proper. Given that now we've destroyed the human side of the conflict, right? Thordan and the Ishgardian Orthodoxy that was sort of like, hey, murdering dragons is cool. Makes sense that now we have to sort of deal with the other side of it.
Chief! Over there! Oi! Gods damn it, do you always have to cut it so bloody close?
Ah, the Final Fantasy main theme.
It would seem he has done it again.
Was there ever any doubt?
Main character of reality, baby.
Let us return to Ishgard. Our friends will be eager to learn the battle's outcome and welcome back their champion.
Where is Estinian?
He's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's fine. It's cool. Don't worry about it. I'll go get him later. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's like flying in on the fucking Midgard's warmer. Oh.
I dare say you are the first soul in Ishgardian history to arrive in our city upon Dragonback. This scene shall be remembered for 1,000 years to come.
As we had feared, the Archbishop summoned the soul of King Thordan to himself, and thence became a primal.
Knew it. Called it.
But he and his knights are no more, thanks to the Warrior of Light.
Your struggles are not yet over, mortals.
Whom do I have the pleasure?
I am Midgardsormr. I have journeyed with Hydaelyn's champion and observed his deeds in the conflict between man and dragon. Tell me, children of Thordan, do you desire peace?
My people have committed unspeakable atrocities against dragonkind, even against our own. Would that we could undo these wrongs, but we cannot. Be that as it may, the future yet presents a chance to begin anew. Our nation has broken free of the shackles of a false faith, and Nidhogg shall lead his kindred against us no more.
Well,
I doubt
about that.
not that it will require much effort and perseverance. But 'tis my belief that in time, Ishgard will again become a place where man and dragon may abide together in harmony.
I shall remember thy words. Yet be warned, Nidhogg's soul liveth on. His unbridled rage hath claimed for its vessel the one thou callest the Azure Dragoon.
Estinian.
Doubt not but that Nidhogg will call out to his brood ere long, nor that they shall answer him. Steel yourselves, for the true test is yet to come.
Come what may, we will never cease to believe. Upon the souls of they who have sacrificed themselves to pave the way for peace, we will never abandon our cause.
1,000-year war cannot be ended in a day. It may take generations. What thou dost begin, thy children must continue. Entrust unto them thy hopes and dreams, that peace may reign again, and forevermore.
Ah, I see we're getting the credits now. Hey, Nanamo, any progress on that Republic, by the way? Just curious.
Let all here present attest that Sir Emmerich, acting on behalf of the Archbishop, has appended his signature. I do hereby declare that from this day forth, the Holy See of Ishgard shall once more be counted a member of the Eorzean Alliance. Let our nations move forward as one and stand united against the Garlean Empire.
Gun. It never stops being funny. The gun.
For the future of Eorzea.
For the future of Eorzea!
Blue skies over Ishgard for the first time in a long time.
There you are. A noble monument to a noble soul.
It's not big enough.
From here, Lord Orshafon can watch over all of Ishgard.
It has been a long and arduous journey, and we have lost much and more along the way. Yet come what may, we must stay true to our purpose and press on.
That's right, you two. It's high time we got back to rebuilding the Scions. Which means we're going to need money! And lots of it!
So that was a pretty good expansion. I know it's not completely over this patch content and stuff, but...
So ends a glorious chapter in their tale. However, tumultuous days yet lie ahead for Ishgard. After 1,000 years under the yoke of the Church, the people take their first tentative steps into the unknown. And though they spy a glimmer of peace upon the horizon, Nidhogg's vengeful shadow yet remains to darken the way. Be that as it may, so long as the young commander of the Temple Knights and his heroic companions are there to guide them, the people may hold fast to hope. The hope that one day true peace will return to Ishgard, and that man and dragon may live in harmony once more. Let the deeds writ herein never be forgot, that they may inspire generations yet unborn to strive ever heavensward.
Hey, they set the title. Roll credits. Oh my god, are they literally gonna roll credits? They're literally gonna roll credits! God damn it! Oh, fair enough. Are we getting the song now? Children of the land, do you hear echoes of truth that once rang clear? Two souls intertwined, one true love they did find, bringing land and heavens near. But flames that burned full bright soon fell dark. Memories dimmed by shadowed hearts. In the waxing gloom did wane the lovers' moon, watching as their worlds drift apart. One soul's cry, a passion dwelling within. Sacrifice, a final plea to her kin. Yet this bond of hope by treachery was broke, scattering her words to the wind. Swelling over long seas of blood are a song, and death an afterthought to those who fight for naught. A throne lying empty, array incomplete, alone for eternity, a pain without cease. The instrumental rise here. Ooh, it's so good. La, 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 la. Children of the land, answer this. Why must you turn to empty bliss? Tell me why break trust? Why turn the past to dust? Seeking solace in the abyss. Tell me why create a circle none can break? Why must you let go the life you were bestowed? This I fear I'll never know. Never know. Did you get your channel points worth there, Mighty Ear 09? Someone once asked me if the reason why I sing along is like to prevent the VOD from getting copyright claimed. I'm afraid not. It still gets copyright claimed as a cover. That just happens. And then you have to contest it, and usually they release it, but you know. So that's not why. I do it because I've listened to these songs many, many times before on the Distant World compilation. Like the Distant World concerts, the CDs. And I just can't fucking help it. I can't resist. I sing along to things. It's what I do. And it's very annoying, but fortunately my voice isn't, you know, it's gotten better since I was a teenager when it was at its most annoying. So now, every time there's a song that comes up that I know, I can't help but sing along. I don't know that I've heard the Endwalker theme, though. Assuming there is one. I am just assuming there is one. But I think we can probably turn emotes only off now. So, all in all, a pretty solid expansion. I do note that the thing that happens is like, it sort of ends with a return to the status quo from the beginning. Which is like, Okay. Like was like, Nilhogg is attacking Ishgard. We have to stop this thing. Well, the evil dragons attack thing. And then like we go through the whole thing and we kill Nilhogg and we like destroy Thordan and like and then at the very end of it's like, hey, guess who's back? Like Nilhogg just comes back immediately and sort of restores the status quo. Yeah, Dragonsong was and is pretty aggressively copper portrayed by Square Enix. I fully expect that. I fully expect it to be claimed. But like it does end with a restoration of the status quo, and I wonder whether that's just basically to be like, oh, why are the dragons still attacking Ishgard even though after you've like, why are they still the enemies? Why are they still everywhere? Like maybe that's just a thing to maintain the. Like, to sort of not have too many inconsistencies in terms of, like, why are the dragons still attacking Ishgard? Why is everybody in Ishgard still talking about attacking dragons and stuff? Maybe that's just there for that, or they're setting it up to be a major plot point in some later part of the... Yeah, Midgard's Ormer said that it will take generations to end the war. Yeah, and that's fair enough. Like, I don't think it's, like, bad. I want to stress this. I'm not criticizing it. I just note that it's funny that we just basically end by restoring the status quo that we began with, just minus evil Pope. Yeah, we begin Heavensward fleeing from the allegations of killing the ruler of a city-state, and then we end it by killing the ruler of a city-state. Basically, yeah. But people aren't wrong. Like, people aren't wrong when they say that Heavensward is when the story gets good. Because now, like... I've talked about this endlessly, but Realm Reborn is like, hey, here's a very standard fantasy story from Standard Fantasyland where we do the good light story and the bad evil story, like who are dark, and then light and dark fight, and then light wins because light is good and evil is bad, right? There's not a lot to it, right? Like thematically it's very, very weak, and very basic. And so Heavensward is like an expansion where they kind of start going, okay, like, what if the situation is more complicated than that, right? Like, what if it's more complicated than just good and evil? What if it's a thing of, like, we have this intractable 1,000-year war that, like, even if you go and do the light is good and we're gonna defeat the dark, that's not gonna end the war, right? Like, it's not enough to just get rid of the bad guys on top of things. There's like a deeper conflict that needs to be solved, right? Where it's like the guy who represents the humans, essentially, or the mortals, like who is like the Pope dude, is definitely an evil motherfucker who's like deeply power hungry and every bit as corrupted by his power as Nilhogg is. And where Nilhogg is someone who's like, what he's doing is not reasonable, but it's reasonable that he's pissed off. Like, it's reasonable that he's like somewhat upset and unwilling to like let go of a grudge, right? So, like, it introduces that complexity where it's not as simple as good and bad, but it's more a thing of, like, we have this really awful situation. What are we gonna do about it, right? Like, what are we gonna do to solve the conflict? Like, not necessarily to declare who is right or who is wrong or who is evil or who is good. How do we start to do something to make the killing stop, right? Which is like really, like, that's more interesting. I don't think necessarily that it's like, I don't think it's like the most complicated story ever. I don't think it's like sort of like Shakespeare levels of like moral complexity at the heart of it, but it is a story that's more complicated, like that has like the opportunity to take sides, the opportunity to create different readings, which is like, that's pretty good. Like, it's much more interesting to think about. It's much more interesting to talk about, to discuss Heavensward than it is to discuss Realm Reborn, I think. There's more characters, like, or rather, there's not more characters, but there are characters that are more characters than Realm Reborn. In Realm Reborn, no one has a personality. No one has a personality in Realm Reborn. There are no like, outside of Hildebrand, no one in Realm Reborn has a goddamn personality. The Scions don't, you don't, the leaders of the various regions don't. Like, no one has a fucking personality. No one has, like, a personhood beyond their role as archetype. I know, the art is really pretty. And then in Heavensward, characters have character, right? Like, we have Lady Iceheart, Isael, poor Isael, who, like, has a perspective, who is a person who goes through an arc, who changes, like, who is sort of forced to confront a bunch of things. We have Estinian, who, like, has a bit of an arc throughout the thing as well, right? Like, there are characters that go through things and change. Like, Emmerich changes his perspective. Poor Orchiffon gets sacrificed. Like, there is... And Nanamo! Yeah, Nanamo changes a little bit when it goes to the story as well. But, like, there's a reason to give a shit about the characters, right? Not just the archetypal role that they play. Because, like, that's the thing that's really annoying about Minfilia and Realm Reborn, is that she's so much just supposed to be the fucking waifu, right? Like, she's so much just supposed to be the pretty anime girl who's constantly, like, giving you moon eyes and talking about how great you are and, like, stroking the player's ego. Like, that's really fucking boring and transparent. And it's just not it's just not an interesting character. Like, compare that with the arcs that are present, like, for Emmerich, that are present for, like, the main quest givers of Heavensward, right? You get much more interesting characters. Matoya shows up. Like, she's a fantastic character, and she's just a side character, right? Like, she's just someone you go to one time to be like, hey, let us into the library, and she goes, okay, I'll let you into the library. Like, but she's so interesting. Like, you meet her one time and you remember her forever because there's so much of a personality. There's clearly a character there who exists beyond her utility to the story, which in Realm Reborn, most of the characters don't. Like, they don't really exist beyond their necessity to talking up how cool the Warrior of Light is all the time. So no, yeah, like, I agree with the assessment that Heavensward is when the game gets good. And it's only taken me, let me check my Steam statistics. Got to scroll all the way back up to the top here. Oh, that's why. 323 hours. Of that, like, admittedly, of that, a lot of it was me, like, not being on stream. Like, it's not all stuff that's actually on stream. but it's only taken 323 hours, and now we're at the good part. Like, I've done a lot of AFKing and shit as well, so it's probably more like 100 hours, but, you know. Realm Reborn was built in 2 years on a shoestring project. Yeah, like, there's good reasons why Realm Reborn is the way that it is. Like, I've said this many times before, like, I completely understand why Realm Reborn turned out to be the way that it did. Like, it makes sense after the disaster of 1.0 and having to try and build it into, like, the thing that it became. It makes sense that Realm Reborn turned out the way that it did. We've talked about that many times before. But it's still, like, you can still criticize it. Like, just because there are good reasons why it turned out the way it did doesn't mean you have to pretend like it's not got problems, right? Like, it's not bad. It is bad. In many ways, it's very, very mediocre. Like, very standard, very unremarkable. Like, not terrible, just mediocre. Like, just a 6 out of 10, you know, that kind of thing. Serviceable, fine, if you're a really big Final Fantasy fan, but I wouldn't recommend Realm Reborn to anyone, I don't think. Like, unless they're huge Final Fantasy fans or unless they're really desperate for an MMO to just spend time in, I wouldn't recommend Realm Reborn to anyone. I would recommend Heavensward. Like, but it's that hard sell, right? It's that very difficult sell of, like, yeah, if you just play through this really mediocre JRPG for 50 hours, then eventually, eventually there's a good game on the other end of it. Unfortunately, Realm Reborn is very important to understand later expansions. Yeah. And it makes sense that they don't charge for access to Realm Reborn. They shouldn't. And they shouldn't charge for access to Heavensward either. Like, it makes sense to, like, let that be free as well. Because, like, you have to sort of apologize to them. Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to get through Realm Reborn. We've made it as fast as possible. Don't worry about it. And then you hook them in with Heavensward. Like, that seems to be the marketing strategy there, right? So, yeah. Like, I think, like, the business model of a game like this, right, is to produce expansions. To constantly add new content. And you have to, because that's the only way to keep the players that you have is to give them new stuff to do. give them new things to pick up. But in terms of like the thing that would probably be best for like the health of the game would be to remake a Realm Reborn, like to make a Realm Reborn, and to like remake that from the bottom up, and just like you can't change a lot of the things that sort of go into the canon. Like you can't change stuff that's established, like that becomes important in Heavensward, but like just to like rewrite it, give it better voice direction, like punch up the cutscenes, you know. They already did put so many resources to fixing AR up. Yeah, I know. Like, I know it's way faster. I know it's way faster to get through. But I mean the story. Like, in terms of hooking people into the story, in terms of hooking people into the universe, like, redo the voices, rewrite some of the characters, give them more personality, especially the Scions. Like, badly need to be more characterized. Like, it wasn't until after I had defeated La Habrea the first time that I realized that Thancred is supposed to be a womanizer. Like, I don't think that really registered with me, that Thancred is supposed to be like a guy who has like a girl in every city and like 15 girlfriends, always like on his ass because he keeps dating too many people. I didn't catch that in his characterization because he doesn't have a fucking personality. He really doesn't. He doesn't have a personality. Like, he's just a guy who's like, ah, yes, I am a Scion, and we shall go do the Scion mission thing, right? Yeah, I started in Limsa, right? Like, so much of the personality of the Scions, who are like your main companion characters throughout Realm Reborn, is just like, it's nothing, right? Like Y'shtola isn't very interesting. Like, I started in Limsa, so I saw her, right? Y'shtola isn't very interesting. Papalymo and Ida are probably the most interesting of the Scions that you can start with, just because they actually have, like, 30% of an interesting relationship with each other. But that's still so basic and so, like, kind of like, there's nothing to hook you in. There's no surprise. And again, I'm not saying that remaking a Realm Reborn is, like, an easy thing or a thing that they will ever do. It's just, when I think about in terms of, like, how to make the game good before you get to Heavensward, like, I do feel like the thing to do would be to go back and rewrite Realm Reborn. Like, rewrite it, give it, like, an updated set of voices, update all of the cutscenes, change, like, the... Like, maybe streamline even harder, like, streamline a lot of the early game story beats, and, like, just generally make that way the fuck quicker to get through, or make it more interesting to get through. Like, spend more time building out, like, themes about Ishgard, for example. Themes about, like, whatever comes up in the later expansions. Go back and plant even more shit in Realm Reborn that sort of hooks you in by saying, oh shit, that sounds interesting, and you kind of get the sense that, oh, that's gonna pay off later. Like, that's the kind of thing that, if there were infinite resources and infinite time, right? Like, if we could do a Groundhog Day where they could just, like, play, like, repeat 1 month of development over and over, if that was available, that's what I would say, like, would be the way to improve Final Fantasy XIV, because Realm Reborn is really weak. It's really weak compared to what I saw in Heavensward. But, you know, the business model isn't that. Like, the business model doesn't really allow for that. The business model is produce expansions and make more content, new content forever. Which makes sense, because that's how you reward the people who have spent the most time and sunk the most time into your product, right? So it makes sense that you would never do that, but a boy can dream, you know? But no, yeah, good expansion. Interesting stuff to talk about. Oh, hey, it's the Ashen in the white clothes we never followed up on.
So La Habrea and Igayorn have fallen.
Yeah, what happened to La Habrea's soul after we...
by mortals in their attempt to initiate the Eighth Rejoining. That they should be so complacent.
Is he on the moon?
And now it falls to me to deal with the consequences.
He's on the moon, isn't he?
The balance between light and darkness will begin to shift, placing our mission in jeopardy. Hydaelyn's champion has grown too strong. His might encroaches upon the realm of gods. Equilibrium must needs be restored. The time has come for you and yours to join the fray. warrior of darkness.
Oh my. He even seems to be a warrior, specifically. Hey, is that standard warrior guy? Like, is that literally standard warrior guy, the guy on the cover? Also, he's on the fucking moon. God damn it. The fucking moon of all places. Are we gonna need to take the lunar whale to get up there? Is that what they're gonna do? Because Final Fantasy has sent the heroes to the moon before.
Why is there no rest for the righteous?
Because they care, Master Garland.
Are we gonna run into, like, the scions of the 7th sunset as well? Oh, shit. The sound effects weren't playing. That's a big robot. Is that Alexander? That wouldn't be Alexander, would it? If the goblins built that, someone needs to talk to them.
They could have picked to play with. That's not a toy, you bloody fools! It's a primal!
Yeah, that's gotta be Alexander, then. Spires of deception crumble to dust, to lay bare truths long concealed. Beyond simmering shadow lieth shimmering light. Okay, then. Guess we should officially finish the quest, shouldn't we?
The Ocean Alliance can be restored to its former glory, so can the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Let's find our lost friends and begin anew.
After long years of estrangement, Ishgard rejoins her sister nation in the Alliance. Words cannot well express my joy. None of this would have been possible without you, my friend. Change is coming to Eorzea, though it will inevitably bring with it a measure of upheaval. With hard work, peace and prosperity are sure to follow.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right?
And yet, even as we look forward to the coming of a new age, we must needs be wary of old threats. The Lords of Garlemald will not have relinquished their claim upon Eorzea, and we shall be forced to contend with them again ere long. And then there's the matter of our comrade Estinian, claimed body and soul by Nilhogg. If there is a way to rescue him, we must find it. Suffice it to say, the path ahead holds no shortage of challenges, but together, we shall overcome them.
Yeah. Aw. You jerks aren't gonna make me cry on stream for a second time. Not gonna happen. Thank you all very much. That's very kind of you. And with that, I think we can call a close to the main story of Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward. It's been a nice little journey. I have very much enjoyed it. I have had a lot of fun. Now there is the patch content yet to come, and hence the, whatever the hell happens in the next expansion, Stormblood, which I've heard mixed things about. And then eventually we're gonna have to go kill the moon again, aren't we? But with the end of Heavensward reached now, I think we'll take a little bit of a break from streaming to allow the YouTube VODs to catch up a bit before I charge headwards into Shadowbringers and Stormblood and God knows what else is coming. And I'd like to thank you all, especially everyone who's been here with me on stream, very much for following me along in Final Fantasy XIV. I've said it many times before, and it never stops being true, that the reason I've stuck with the game for the 300 hours I've sunk into it now is because of this. Because of these wacky lunatics who are following me around. Because all you nice people in chat. And just because this game just happens to have a real nice community. It really does. Without that, I wouldn't have stuck through Realmborn, and I certainly don't think I would have had nearly as much fun running through Heavensward. So thank you all very much for that. And, yeah. I'll take a little break from streaming now. Then we'll get back to it. So, if you want to watch the whatever episodes might be coming up next before everyone else gets to, you'll have to become a member of the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe to see them at the same time as everybody else. Or head on over to the Twitch channel where, by the time this episode goes up on YouTube, we will we'll definitely have restarted streaming over on the Twitch channel. So you can go to the Twitch channel, and you can follow that, or subscribe there, and then subscribing there will give you access to the VODs, and then you can watch like way ahead of everyone on YouTube to see like way more stuff. If you want to do that, you're very welcome to. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another, have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.